Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of One Man Stream. In today's episode, we're going to cover the topic of replay. I'm going to show you this replay setup that we have right here. On each one of these label widgets, I have it listed what the function of the particular region of the vMix UTC setup is for. And this one right here is for event lists. So let's go ahead and bring the picture-in-picture in. And you can see as I click through these event list buttons, it actually toggles through the event lists in the vMix replay. And there's a lot more lists than what I use. I've never used more than 8 lists, but the way that I have this set up here is lists 1 through 4. List 5 I have pregame, and 6 I have as first half highlights, 7 is second half highlights, and then 8 is the melt, which is the best highlights from the entire production. This next segment here is moving inside an event list. And what this does, let's go back to the first list, and this is going to select the first item in the list. And then this will allow us to move through that list so that we can choose a particular replay that we want. So let's go ahead up to this one here. This one has a little bit of action in it. And we're going to click this button right here that's entitled Play Selected Event. Now this next section here is Event Playout. And what that allows us to do is we can automatically select the last event, which comes in really handy when we're using these preset audio clip creation buttons right here, and I'll get to those in just a minute. But say you just created a 10-second clip that you really like, then you click this Play Last Event, it's automatically going to play the last event that you created. Also, this one right here is Play the Event List. So let's go ahead and select the first item in this list, and then we're going to go ahead and click Play Event Lists. And it's going to bring in some of the replays that we've already created. And we'll go ahead and stop that, and we'll bring this back in. So this section right here that I didn't mention, this is the replay on and the replay off sections. If I click on the replay on button, if you look right here where I'm indicating, that's going to turn red. And you can see where it turns red, and then it tells us the time that we have remaining, recording time that we have remaining on our hard drive. And then this button here is replay off, and that's going to turn it back off. This next section right here is called Moving an Event Within a List. And the reason that I use this, and I have this button included in the setup, is sometimes I like to change the sequence of the replays that I have within a particular list. So let's just go ahead and create or select this top one, and I'm going to click on Move Selected Replay, Move Selected Event down, and as I do that, that number 10 event that I originally selected is moving down the list. Now I'm going to click this other button that says Move Event Up, and we're going to bring it back to its rightful spot, back up to the top, so everything is numerical once again. This next section is copying an event to another list, and copying an event to another list is actually better than the name that I have on here is Move Clip, because moving a clip kind of infers that you're taking it in one list and putting it in another list, and that's not what we're doing at all. What we're doing is we're from this master list, or this list number 1, what we're doing is we're going to create a copy of it and we're going to put it into another list. So I'll show you how that works real quick. On this number 10, let's look in event list 3, and we only have one event in event list 3, and that's number 30. So let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is we're going to select event 10, and then we're going to click on this button that says Move to List 3. All right, so now let's go to List 3, and you'll look and you'll see that we do now have clip number 10 in event list 3. That's the way that I go about creating these highlight lists. This next section here is replay A select and replay B select, and what this does is it allows you to select a particular camera that you want to use. If you have multiple camera angles of the same play, it allows you to select what angles or what cameras that you want to run in your replay. And you can see right here where I'm indicating where it says A and B, I only have one camera that is available to me because this is the vMix 4K. If I had the vMix Pro version, I would have 4 cameras in replay A and 4 cameras in replay B, and that's when these buttons here will really come into play. The next section is the auto clip creation, and that allows me to create clips on the fly, 5-second, the 10-second, the 20-second, and the 60-second. And what that does is from the moment that you click that button, it goes back that many seconds in time. So if I click this button here, it's going to start in real time and it's going to go back 5 seconds. This one is going to start in real time, go back 10 seconds, this one 20 seconds, and this one 60 seconds. 60 seconds seems like an awfully long clip, but this is kind of my oh crap button. If I'm doing something else within the production and I've missed something, if I click this, it'll go back 60 seconds in time and capture that clip that I missed. And then what I do is I come back and I use this manual clip adjustment, these manual clip adjustment buttons to select the portion of that 60-second clip that I really want. And what these buttons here do is it allows me to reselect the in point and reselect the out point. So I can take a 60-second clip and I can take it down to 2 seconds if I want to. Where you're marking the in point and you're marking the out point, you're doing that manually. This section over here is replay speed, and I have it set for 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. And I'll go ahead and show you how that works. Let's go back to list 1. We're going to play selected event, and then I'm going to slow it down 50%. Let's play that event clip again, and let's bring it to 75%, and then take it back to full 100%. This next section is where we can play the clip in forward direction or in reverse direction. So let's play the clip again, and now we can play it in reverse direction. Take it back to forward direction. We can pause the clip, and this is the cool part right here. This is jump frames forward and jump frame backwards. So what I'll do is I'll click on this, and it's going to go through a frame at a time. So let's see if the fighter actually lands a punch here. So each time I click on it, it's moving the number of frames that I've told it to move forward. Let's play this clip out. So that clip has a little bit more action in it. So let's see if some of those punches were actually landed. So let's go ahead and we're going to play the clip. We're going to slow it down to 50%. When we get, okay, right there, I'm going to go ahead and clip on jump frames. I'm going to run it back. And then we're going to run it forward, and we're going to see if that punch actually landed. And no, it was just a glancing shot. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on the replay selected event with stinger button. Let's click on that. If you look at your main vMix production and you go up here where I'm indicating right here and you click on this question mark is actually going to bring in this right here for you. And what this is the online help for vMix. If you scroll through the online help for vMix and you go down here to where it says shortcut functions reference, this is where I get all of my information for when I'm programming my keys or when I'm putting commands into my keys. These are all the ones for replay. These are the commands for scripting. They are separated by different titles. So the ones that I use for replay are all right here. And the cool thing about this is it actually tells you the parameters for that particular command that you're using. So let me just come down here to the one that says select speed, which is what we did when we had the 25%, the 50%, the 75%, and the 100%. The command is replay set speed, but the value that we're going to put in is from 0 to 1. So for 25%, you would go 0.25. For 50%, it would be 0.50. 75 would be 0.75. And then 100% would be 1. Now, one thing I will mention is if you're not familiar with button creation and you're not familiar with NDI monitor, which is what we have right here, I would suggest going to our second video, which is called Button Explanation and NDI Monitor. So the first button that we're going to go over is this one right here. And this is the live toggle button, and it allows you to go in and out of live mode in replay. And let me see if I can bring this up real quick. All right, and if I move out of the way just a bit, you can see that when I click on this live button here, you can see right here where it's showing up live. And what that allows you to do is go out of live mode and what I call work mode, where you can actually make adjustments to your replay without them being seen live. So when you want to be in live mode, you make sure this red light's on, and when you do not want to be in live mode, you click it again and that live mode goes off. The next region here that we're going to look at is the event lists, and the way that this works is the command is replay selected event X, and the event lists are numbered, the ones that we have created are numbered 1 through 8. Event list 1 is going to say replay selected events X, where X refers to the event list, which is 1. Event list 2, the command is replay select events X, and in that one the event list is 2. And it's going to be so on and so forth down the line. This one would be list 3, list 4, list 5, list 6, list 7, and list 8. Okay, the next region we're going to look at is right here where we turn replay on and replay off. And let's take a look at that command. The command to turn a replay on is replay start recording. And the command to turn replay off is replay stop recording. So that makes sense. This next region that we're going to look at is moving inside an event list. And this button here is select first event. So the command you would expect to say something similar, and it does. It says replay select first event. And if you remember what this does, it allows us to move up and down in an event list. And this select first event button kind of gives us a place to start. And then the next two keys are going to allow us to move up and down within that event list. If we want to move down in the list, we'll use this button right here, which says select next event. So let's take a look at that command. And that command is replay select next event. And if we want to move up in the list, that command says replay select previous event. Now this button here allows us to play whatever the last event is that we recorded, and this is a very handy button and I use it quite often. I actually have it set up in a couple different places. I set up right here next to the auto clip creation, so I can create a clip, a quick 5-second clip, and if I like it the way that it is, as is, I'll just go ahead and click play last event. So let's see what the command is for this. The command is replay select last event, and what that's going to do is the last event that we created, it's going to go ahead and play that out. This next section is playing an event. So we're moving up and down in the event list. We found one that we want. We're going to use this key right here that says replay select event, and this is how the command reads: replay play selected event to output. And what that's going to do is whatever event we've selected from the list, when we click on the button, it's immediately going to send it to output. This event right here, instead of playing selected event, we're going to play last event. So it's automatically going to play the last event within that event list. And that command is replay play last event to output. And most of these commands are pretty common sense. The next one is when we're going to play the entire event list. How we would use this is first we would select one of the event lists from up here. So let's just say we're going to select event list 1. We're going to click on event list 1, and then we would click on this button here that says play event list. So let's look at that command. That command reads replay play all events to output. So what it's going to do is it's going to take that selected event list and it's going to play every event in that event list in sequence, and it's going to send them all to output. The next key that we're looking at is this one right here, which is play or pause replay. And I have this in several places, or I have it in a couple places. I have it right here, and then I have it again right here. And let's take a look behind this. And this says replay, play, pause. So if you click it once, it's going to play. If you click it again, it's going to pause it. It works kind of like a toggle switch. This next section here is moving an event within the list. So we have an event list, and we're putting together a replay, say for first half highlights, and we're trying to select the sequence of those events. This allows us to do that. We can select a particular event and we can move it up or down in that event list. So let's see how this command is written. This command says replay move selected event up. So that we would use that to move an event up the list. And then this one over here, this one says replay move selected event down, and that's what's going to help us to move an event down in the list. This next section is copy an event to another list. So let's see how this works. And what this says is it says replay copy selected event, and then you have to select the event list. And the event list says 0, and you might say we don't have an event list, a 0 event list. Well, let me show you this. It actually only goes from 0 to 7. And I showed you this, I gave you a little brief look at this. I'm going to bring this up now. And if you look under replay move last event, it's going to give you the value. And when you're working in the event lists, it actually starts at 0. So 0 would be your first event list, 1 would be your second, 2 would be your third, 3 would be your fourth. So that's one thing that you need to remember. All right, so let's take a look at one more. This is move clip to 2. And as you would expect, this says replay copy selected event to the event list, and the event list is 2, but it's going to be designated as 1 because the first event is designated 0. So the command's going to be the same for the rest of these. It's all going to be replay copy selected event. This one here would be event list 2, event list 3, event list 4, event list 5, event list 6, and this one would be event list 7, and let's see if that's what it says. And that is exactly what it says. Replay copy selected event to event list 7. Okay, this next section I'm not going to speak to at this time, but I'll go ahead and show you what it would look like. This would be replay X camera Y. The X is going to be the bus, so these are all going to be replay A, and then this is going to correspond to the particular camera. So this one would be camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, camera 4, and then let's go over to this one here. Notice this says bus A. Let's go over to this one here, and it's going to be similar. This is camera 1, but it's bus B. So this would be replay X camera Y. So it's going to replay X, which is going to be the bus, and camera Y, which is going to be the first camera here. So all these are going to be replay B, bus B. So this would be camera 2, camera 3, and camera 4. The next section we're going to look at is the auto clip creation, and this is what I use most often when I'm using this setup by myself. And let's go ahead and look at these buttons. The command is replay mark in and out, so you're marking in and out, and the interval that we're going to do is a 5-second interval. So it's replay mark in and out with a 5-second interval. So it's going to take real time, and then it's going to go back in time 5 seconds. This next one, Same command, replay mark in out, but this time the interval is 10. On this one the interval is 20, and on this one the interval is 60. And then we're back to this play last event again, and then that command is replay play last event to output. The next thing we're going to look at is the replay speed. The value of the replay speed is from 0 to 1. So this first one, it's going to be a decimal. So let's take a look at it. The command is replay set speed, and the speed is 0.25. So that's going to give us 25% of the original speed, or quarter speed. This next one here is 50%, and same command, replay set speed. This time the speed is 0.50. This one here, it will be 0.75. When we want to run it at full speed, the replay speed will be set at 1. Okay, moving down to the next section, which is replay direction. I'm going to show you this button first, and the reason why is I have two commands on this particular button. Whenever I want to go to play, pause, replay, and I want to click play, replay, I want to make sure that I have it set in the forward direction. So on the command here, the first command is replay set direction forward, because I always want to make sure that I've got it going in the forward direction. I can always change it to reverse by the button to the right of it, but I want to make sure that anytime I go to that replay button, when I first click it, the direction is going to be forward. So then the second command is replay play pause. We've already seen that. Let's go to the replay forward command. Replay set direction forward, and then on the reverse it is replay set direction backward. So that allows us to grab that replay and change direction on the fly. We can have it going in the forward direction, and then we can also have it in the reverse direction. This next section says super slow-mo frame by frame, and the command for that is replay jump frames, and the interval that I have it set up is 1. So it's just going to move forward 1 frame. Every time I click the button, it's going to move forward just 1 frame. If we're going to go backwards by frame, the command is going to be replay jump frames, but the frame is going to be in the negative direction. So each time we click that button, it's going to go back 1 frame. This section over here, manual clip creation, where we are manually marking the replay in and out. To mark the replay in, it's replay mark in, and to mark the replay out, it's replay mark out. And then there's play or pause once again. If we want to change the in point on one that we just made, or if we want to change the in and out point of one of our pre-selected clips, this is what we would use right here, and the command is replay update selected endpoint, and then this is replay updated select, whoa, that's not right. This should be replay updated selected out point. Last thing I'm going to show you here is where we can play the last event or play the selected event with Stinger. I'm going to show you this button first. And the reason why is when I created this button, replay play last event to output, we've seen that before, but what I did is I checked the execute box here, and I created a link that says RPL event for replay last event. So what I can do now is when I want to do scripting for this, what I can do is I can just execute this command that I created for this button, and then when we execute that command, what it's going to do is it's going to replay last event to output. And on this one is replay selected event to output. And I also created a link for it as well, and this one is RP event, which is just replay event. If you recall, the previous button was RPL event for replay last event. So this is how I program this key in order to play the Stinger first and then play the event. Okay, the first command is overlay input X in, and what that's going to be is a Stinger, and we're going to do that on overlay channel 3. And that Stinger is actually about 1.5 seconds, but what I do is I set the timer for 2 seconds. If you've watched any of the previous videos where I've described creating the scripting like this, the way that it works is it runs the first command and then immediately goes to the second command. So if I didn't have this timer in here, what it would do is it would run that stinger, and it wouldn't give that stinger enough time to play out. What it would do is it would start running that stinger and then it would immediately take it out. So what we're doing here is we're going to start running that stinger. We know it goes for about 1.5 minutes, so we're going to make the, not 1.5 minutes, 1.5 seconds. And so we're going to make that timer 2 seconds, which is 2,000 milliseconds. And then when it's had a chance to play out, then we're going to bring that overlay channel out, and then we're going to execute that link that we created in the button to the right of it, and we're going to execute that link, and the link is RPL event, or replay last event. We're going to do the same thing with this button that we did to the previous one. We're going to bring that overlay channel in. We're going to do the timer for 2 seconds. We're going to take that stinger out, and then we're going to execute the link that we made in this button right here, and that link was RP event. So the very last part of these commands here is we're going to replay the selected event. And that concludes our tutorial for today. I want to thank everyone once again for tuning in. Please make sure you give us a like and a thumbs up. And if you like what we're doing here, please make sure you subscribe so you'll be alerted as soon as new tutorials are posted. Please keep your comments and your suggestions coming. And as always, thank you.